Hello, this video will instruct you how to make a chrysanthemum mini flower using all 4 petals, center, and sepal from the chrysanthemum mini flower bundle. So cut all the petals according to the instruction document at the beginning of this video, and it's also saved on my Facebook page in Photo Fab Paper Flowers in the photo album 2022 Crafting Happy Hour Instructions. So we're going to take our sepal and we're going to use our 3/16 inch dowel rod. Place it down in the middle of the petal, thumb on top, index finger underneath, pinch it up and roll. So we're going to go around, pinch it up with your thumb, and then roll it between your fingers. Pinch up and roll. It doesn't have a big or a lot of curl to the shape of the petal just because it is the sepal. Okay, and then you can flip it over. Now for the center, for both of these, we're going to use 18 gauge floral wire. So it's just your regular floral stem wire. And we're going to place it down in the middle of each individual petal, and you're just going to pinch up and around it. So because I'm right-handed, mine have more of a curl to the right, but it doesn't matter. Just pinch around it. You just want to have some shape to the petal. I'm going to do this to both centers. So one of them is 5 inches wide and one is 4. Again, we're just pinching around just so the top part of it has some curl to it. Believe me, it does make a difference in your center of your flower. Okay, and then we're going to do the exact same thing. Now you can always add shading to your petals. You can ink it. I like to use Distress Oxide, but you can use anything or just leave it as is. So I'm leaving mine as is, but you can always, again, add some shading. You could do it in the center of the petals if you wanted to, or the edges. You can do it after it's assembled, so it's totally up to you to make it your own. So again, we're just pinching around. Okay. Now we're going to, we have them stacked from petals 1 through 4, 4 being the super skinny ones. We're going to flip it over and we're going to start from our largest ones. So there's 2 of them, a petal 1 at 3.75 inches wide, and we're going to use the 1/8 inch dowel rod. So you're going to place that down in the middle of the petal. Thumb on top, index finger underneath. It holds your dowel rod in place. So your dowel rod will be right down the center. You're just going to pinch up and just roll it again between your fingers. So it'll give it a nice shape. So I am doing 2 of them at once, but if you are newer, you may want to just try with 1 at a time at first. So we're just going to go around and you're just rolling it between your fingers. So pinch it up with your thumb and then roll it between your index finger. Okay. Take your next one, which is also petal 1, and we're going to use the 1/8 inch dowel rod again. So you're just placing it down right in the middle of the petal, thumb on top, index finger underneath, pinch it up and roll. Okay, now we're going to switch to petal 2. And we're going to switch to a smaller dowel rod just because our petals are getting skinnier as we go smaller petals. So we're going to use something skinnier than the 1/8 inch dowel rod. So place it down in the middle of the petal, thumb on top, index finger underneath, pinch around it. Okay, again, you're just kind of squeezing around the dowel rod. So you could use a toothpick, or if in my dowel rod sets that I sell in my Etsy shop, I do provide a little bit skinnier one. Now it's probably going to be about half of the size of that. And we're just going to pinch around our petals. And I got mine out of order. There we go. So this is still petal 2. So just pinch around it. Lay it down in the middle of the petal and pinch around. So you can just start at the bottom and squeeze around it. Okay, for our next one, we're still going to use the something skinnier than the 1/8, as we call it. I don't know how else to describe it. So just pinch around it, place it right down in the middle of the petal, thumb on top, index finger underneath. It holds it in place. With your right hand or your dominant hand, you're going to pinch around it. So just squeeze around. It almost looks like a hot dog roll. How's that for an analogy? Okay, and now we're going to switch to our 18 gauge wire. Again, I just use an extra piece when I cut it off, and I have a whole bunch of them sitting here in a cup. So I just grab from there. You're going to place it right down the middle of the petal, and this time it's going to get a little bit more of a roll. Again, because I'm right-handed, my roll tends to come a lot more in from the right side, and that's okay. So if you're left-handed, it would just come in more from the left. It doesn't matter. It just, you need to have a shape to the petal. So chrysanthemums have a lot of layers and are super curled petals for some of them. So our petals are getting thinner or skinnier as we go towards the center of the flower. So a difference between using this to roll it versus your wire. Now these are the petal number 4 from the Chrysanthemum Mini Flower Bundle, and we use these to make the spider mums, but we're still going to use our 18 gauge wire, and you are going to squeeze around it on all 3 of these. Just giving it some shape to it, so don't stress out if it's not all the way down the petal. But you will go all the way around. A couple more to style, and then we can assemble our chrysanthemum. Okay, again, we're going to do the exact same thing. Place that wire down in the middle of the petal, so it's going to have just the slightest little curl or curvature to it. Just squeeze around. Excuse my nails. And all the petals were rolled up. The largest dowel rod size was what we used for our sepal, and that was 3/16. Everything has been 1/8 of an inch or smaller in diameter. Diameter is the circumference of the dowel rod going around. Super duper skinny. Okay, we're just gonna pinch. Again, it's just giving ever so slightly a little bit of curl. Okay, and then for these last 3, we're going to take our precision scissors and we're going to cut in between every 2 petals. So just do a slight sliver with your precision scissors. Skip 2 petals and cut. Skip 2 and cut. So if you flip it over, you should see those. Now that's the smallest one, so I'm going to put that upside down just so I don't get them out of order. And again, we're going to do the exact same thing. So I'm using 65-pound cardstock, and this one is from Recollections from the Spice Market paper pack. It's the persimmon color. Okay. So I'm just going to place them back on our pile, and then I like to flip them over because we're going to work from largest to smallest. So we're going to take our centers, and we're going to start with the 4-inch wide one by 1 inch. We're going to thread it into our slotted quilling tool. We're going to roll it ever so slightly. Oops. Oh, goodness. Use our hot glue. And we're going to roll it. We're going to keep that bottom aligned the best we can. And we're going to secure the end. We did roll it with the petals up. Sorry, I forgot to tell you that. And secure that end. So it'll give it a nice shape to the center. We leave it threaded, and we're gonna, again, these are rolled up. Add some glue. We're gonna start where we ended our last one. Roll it, so we're just attaching it, keeping that bottom edge aligned the best you can. Roll it towards you and secure the end. And then we're going to set that to the side. Again, you can add any ink or shading that you would want to. Totally up to you. So we're going to take our 2 largest petals. We're going to take our metal ball stylus tool, which has a different diameter metal ball at the end. And we use this to lift our petals up off of our flower shaping mat, which is a soft foam mat. If you are newer to paper flowers and you need some tools, I do offer them in my Etsy shop. So we're going to leave the first one flat. The second one, you're just going to roll it right around the edge where the petals meet the base. Add some hot glue to the back. And now we're going to place our petals in between the previous layer's petals. So just pick any 2, look at a petal, bring it straight down. And these are exactly the same width and height, so it'll fit right in there. Okay, I like to rotate mine. We're going to roll again where the petals meet the base, so just go right around that outer edge. And it just lifted my petals up off the table. Add some hot glue. And again, we just choose a petal, look at 2 at the top, bring it straight down right in between. And now the size did change a little, so you will notice a difference from the top to that layer. And roll it. So it is best if you can stand directly under or over your flower or sit. It's just easier so to keep it aligned. But by us keep shifting it around, it helps it keep it in the center. Take your metal ball stylus, roll it where the petals meet the base. Add your hot glue. Look at a petal and place it in between the previous layer's petal. Now we changed petals design so it will look different. Our petals are going to get thinner or skinnier, the width, as we come into the center, as your flower closes up. Roll your petals where they meet the base, so it's lifting them up off of the tabletop or your surface. Add your hot glue. Keep rotating your flower. Look at 2 petals, look at a petal, and place it in between. So as they get thinner, sometimes they like to stack them on top of one another, so that's why I keep rotating it, trying to fill in any empty spaces. Roll your petals where they meet the base. look at your petals and place it in between. Okay, so if we look at it from the side, so it's starting to come in. So we're going to add this last one. Roll where the petals meet the base. Okay. Now for the last three, we work from the center out. So what does that mean? It means we set out our petals, largest to smallest, and we're going to start from the center and work our way out. So we're going to roll all of them with our metal ball stylus. So I'm going to use the smallest diameter one. Roll the center. Really lifts those petals. See how it did that? We're going to take our center that we rolled. We're going to add a bunch of hot glue. And I'm going to glue it into the smallest one. I'm going to press it just to make sure it adheres. Fold those petals up and around. And then we're going to attach our glue. Or glue, add some glue. Take our next smallest, glue it right in the center there. Now you can look to try and get some petals in between. Press it to make sure it adheres. Now I do use Gorilla Glue, so it dries super fast. So once you give it a moment or two, it won't move or shift on you. Okay, again, glue it into the center. Fold the petals up and around. And then we're just going to glue it into the center here. So kind of look at some petals and see where there's an empty spot. Press it right in the center, and we're just going to let it dry for a moment. So it doesn't shift on us, because we were adding glue in that same spot for all those layers. So just give it a moment. So while we do that, make sure your sepal is turned under so your petals are curled under now. You can roll the center. Add a little bit of hot glue in the center. And glue it right on the back there. Now, if you were going to stem it at a later date, just cut another sepal and to be able to attach your stem. And that will fill in that extra space there. And then I just like to bend mine down a little bit. And she is a beauty, and that's your chrysanthemum mini flower. So I made some in orange. So thank you for watching.